Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about the New England Patriots and their offseason they've had so far. This is a video I wanted to make last week, but I didn't get around to it, and we're going to dive in deep about Cam Newton, all the new skill position players, and what we should expect from the Patriots in 2021. Everyone's saying the Patriots are going to be back this season, coming back for vengeance this season, and they signed a lot of players. Some of them we should be excited for, and some people are excited for. But the thing is, just because we're excited for them to help the Patriots succeed in the real world doesn't mean they're going to be successful fantasy options for us. So not only did they, get some offensive talent, they got a lot of pass catchers, they spent a lot of money, but they also spent some money on the defense to shore up the front seven to add to, already one of the best secondaries in the NFL when you have the corners they do and the safeties. Last year, the Patriots' defense wasn't as good as it was in 2019, but expect them to, improve again because they do have their inside linebacker Dante Hightower returning, and he's going to help with that run defense they had struggled with last season. Now let's dive into some of the weapons they had in free agency. The player people are most excited for that the Patriots added would be Jonnu Smith. So he's an athletic freak at the tight end position. We're all aware of that, but he was never really fully utilized in Tennessee. So before Hunter Henry signed, everyone was excited for Jonnu. This is the time when someone's going to, make him a focal point of an offense and base it around him. Sure, we've never seen that though. If you think about it, he's never eclipsed 500 yards receiving and more than 40 catches in a season. That is some bottom tier production. I don't care about the passing volume in the offense or anything like that. You would expect him, being as good as we all think he is, to have done better than that at some point in his career so far. Another thing is, he was efficient with the 14% target share that he had in Tennessee, but does that mean we expect him to be that much better in New England? They were a very low passing volume offense as well with Cam Newton last season. So what would his peak be? 700 yards with 65 catches, 4 to 5, 6 touchdowns? I'm not sure. If you extrapolate that out and just based on the statistics from last season where tight ends were, there's kind of your top 3, top 4, and then there's just another group of 3 or 4. And once you get past the top 7 or 8, it's just a huge drop off. But that 4 to 7 area, they kind of all have the same points, and same with tight ends 8 or 9 through 16, 17. They're all kind of grouped up together. If you put those stats out, though, that puts him at tight end 4 to 8, which really isn't a needle move around your team for this, the season for fantasy. I already alluded to this, but they also signed Hunter Henry. We already know. This is 3 weeks old information. He is a semi-athletic tight end who is more of the catch and fall tight end, kind of like a Zach Ertz, with good red zone skills. He himself also has never gotten more than 60 catches and 650 yards in a season. So all of our excitement is all based on projection. And if there's one thing every fantasy player knows is we're not good at projecting. So I don't think we should be banking on any of these players with these projections this much. The other issue I have with this is we're talking about both these tight ends like they're generational players, like a Kelsey, but in reality they're very good, solid players, but they've never, ever been a top-of-the-line player at their position. And I'm not sure why we're so excited the way we are. Or were, I guess, now at this point, because that's kind of died off. So after the signing of some of the receivers and the tight ends, everyone got really excited about Cam Newton. Are we actually sure Cam can support the 2 tight ends? Is the offense really going to flow as well as we think with the 2 best weapons being tight ends? Everyone's talking about the years the Patriots were so good on offense with Gronk and Hernandez. At that time, they still had Deion Branch, who was older. He was older in his career, but he was familiar with the system. He was a good possession receiver. They had Welker, who was the world's greatest slot receiver at the time. They had a young Julian Edelman, also a good slot receiver at the time. And they had Chad Johnson, one of the greatest receivers of all time. Even though he wasn't fitting into the system well, it's still one of the most talented players we've ever seen at the wide receiver position. So we're comparing that skill group to Kendrick Bourne, a 3rd, 4th receiver on a low passing volume offense in San Francisco. And I don't care if you think he's a great player, underrated. He doesn't compare to any of the guys I just named from the previous Patriots roster. Nelson Aguilar, who a year ago no one wanted and couldn't catch anything. A 35-year-old Julian Edelman who's probably going to retire because his knees have degenerated and deteriorated in the last year and a half rapidly. N'Keal Harry, one of the biggest busts in the last few years at the receiver position. And Jacoby Myers, I believe an undrafted, lanky slot receiver who doesn't really fit in anywhere at this point now. I think people are also, not looking into anything specific on these new players they got. So Bourne last year led the league in drops. Do you expect him to catch the bullets Cam throws because he never has touch? Do you think Belichick's going to keep him on the field if he continues to drop passes? I don't think so.
Catching him, unlike Aguilar.
Last year, Aguilar was a great deep threat. That's fantastic. But when was the last time we saw Cam Newton be successful throwing the ball deep? Kelvin Benjamin in 2015, I think was his rookie season. Not Kelvin's rookie season. That was the last time I saw him throwing bombs. Last year, he was actually pretty accurate, throwing at a 54% completion percentage. But I don't think the volume is going to be there to support Aguilar. And as far as I'm aware, he's not the world's best short or intermediate route runner. So yes, the Patriots upgrade at the skill positions, but these guys aren't really difference makers. They're kind of just bums that they overpaid for, and they signed them before the wide receiver market really developed. And they overpaid them, like I said, by a ton, where they could have spent the same amount of money and actually got talented receivers that were on the market. The issue with fantasy players, too, is we always forget about the big guys in the trenches. Everyone always worries about the skill position players. Well, they lost Joe Thuney, an all-pro guard, and they lost the right tackle, Marcus Cannon. So maybe the offensive line is going to actually have more issues than we think. We don't know until they get on the field. I've also seen a lot of people talking about how Cam Newton's buy. He's a quarterback one. He's criminally underrated, and we should all be getting him going into the season. So let's talk about it. He's never been an accurate passer. You can't tell him he has been. His completion percentage was higher last season, but he only attempted 350 passes, and he's throwing the ball 4 yards downfield to Jacoby Myers to fall down. What makes you think any of that's going to change this season at this point? And from a game flow perspective, the Patriots rebuilt their defense for this season, and they know Newton's limitations as a passer. They have 4 capable running backs on the roster. You don't think they're going to go out there again, keep the passing volume low, and just run the ball until they wear you guys out? So to me, other than the fact I think they might draft a quarterback this year, and Cam's another spot starter for a season at most, all these Patriots players right now, all this hype, they're sell highs. If you can get anything for Kendrick Bourne's bum ass, do it. Nelson Aguilar, the same. I like Jonnu Smith as a player, but he's not going to be a difference maker. Same with Hunter Henry. And get rid of Cam. He has a good rushing floor. He might have better passing stats this season, but at the end of the day, if you're playing Dynasty, I would consider offing him for wherever you can. If you're playing redraft, he might be still, again, a low-end quarterback one, but he's not a needle mover. The difference between the QB 12 and the QB 15 is barely anything. So let your friends take those guys. Take a shot on a player who's only got room to grow for this season and see where it takes you. The one guy falling back under the radar a little bit, I think, is Damian Harris, who would be a good buy for someone needing a depth running back. His price skyrocketed like a month and a half ago with all this hype. But now I think with all these new things, they might think the Patriots might pass the ball more. I'm not really sure. I think we should be taking a look to see maybe if his price has dropped, and maybe we should try to get him again. So that's my thought on the Patriots for this upcoming season. Who knows what to expect? I'm kind of strong in my beliefs at this point right now. If you're in a league that runs 2 quarterbacks, Cam is a good starter for this season only. But if you have a good third quarterback, considering selling Cam high, that's all I really got. We'll revisit this later on to see actually what my predictions, how they, end up being. But if I had to bet on it right now, I am out on the Patriots from a fantasy perspective. I do expect them to be better as a team this season, though. If you liked the video, please like it. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below if you think I'm a dumbass. Have a great day, guys. Thanks.